Hey, Endless Honeymoon Podcast listeners, if you love this show, the best way to support us is to buy some merch.
We have a coffee mug, we have an amazing beach towel, and we have some very cute short shorts in many sizes.
That's right. So if you want to get yours now and make your butt look like Natasha's butt, go to endlesshoneymoonpod.com/shop. Welcome to the Endless Honeymoon Podcast. My name is Moshe Kasher.
And I'm Natasha Leggero.
Natasha is currently vaping marijuana, and I'm currently working on my audiobook voice.
I just had a flashback of this weekend when we tried to watch a Fellini movie, and within 2 minutes you were like, this is boring.
Wait, why would you...
And then we tried to watch another movie that was old. I think you don't like black and white movies.
Why would you publicly call me out on that? Don't you think I would want our fan base to think that I like Fellini movies? No, that's not even what happened. We were watching a different film. We were watching a film called Putney Swope, which was
you also didn't like.
Recommended to us by our by former guest on the podcast, Anthony Jeselnik, and I did find it boring. Then came 8.5, but the truth is, I didn't think 8.5 was boring. I passed out because I was kind of walloped by daylight savings time. Signs you're getting old? You can't physically deal with daylight savings time.
That's pretty sad.
It's not good. I'll be honest. I'm not happy about it. But I conflate it to our trip to Puerto Rico. I think I was a little bit hungover from our trip to Puerto Rico because we had a lot of long days in the sun. And then they did the old daylight savings switcheroo.
Right after a 12-hour flight.
Natasha, did you have fun in Puerto Rico?
I love it there.
And did you figure out the difference between Mexican food and Puerto Rican food?
I did, because I finally got to eat Puerto Rican food, and I didn't think that Puerto Rican food was Mexican food. I just figured some of the staples would be the same.
All I can say...
Beans and rice with every dish. That was similar.
That's true. And all I can say is that our listeners had a fucking field day roasting you for your comments about the cuisine of Latin American countries.
We went to an amazing Puerto Rican restaurant, like kind of I don't want to say hole in the wall because that's rude.
Cafe Punto is what it's called.
But that was delicious.
But not only was it delicious
unique.
and not really a hole in the wall, because the guy came up to us, our waiter came up to us after we were eating mofongo, by the way, which is hella good.
So good. It's like mushed platanos as the cup.
A little
and
cup.
then you put some like shrimp in there.
Put some shrimp in the
cup. Or you
cup.
put just vegetables. Or didn't we have like an avocado? Oh, then we had another avocado
Stuffed avocado,
cup.
stuffed platanos. They got mofongo. They got bufongo. And that's where it's not only green plantains, it's also ripe plantains. And they got three fungos. Three fungos. That's mashed plantain, green, mashed plantain, ripe, and mashed yuca. They got yuca up in there.
Okay, well,
anyway,
the first place that we had it at, the mofongo was like very tasty. The second place, it just felt a little pasty.
Hold up. At Cafe Punto in Old San Juan, the guy came up to us and he's like, where are you from? And we said, where you from, cuz? No, we said, we're from LA. He's like, I was just in LA. I was at the Improv. I saw Preacher Lawson. So the guy's a comedy fan. And I will say, did not recognize us, which was sort of heartbreaking. But Puerto Rico was pretty dope. I gotta say, what a place, what a time. We frolicked in the ocean, and we did an e-foil, an electronic hover foil, like my political hero Mark Zuckerberg did on July 4th. Remember his like ghostly geisha thing?
You showed it to me, honey.
Well, we did it.
I didn't have as big a reaction to it as you surfers did.
By the way, Natasha got on the e-foil and she pretty much killed it.
It was fun.
You were foiling around.
I even stood up on my feet.
Yeah, you got up. It was great.
I did all three positions.
Doggy, missionary, and reverse cowgirl. Now we stayed at a very fancy hotel.
Well, because we were lucky that we got put up for a show.
Well, Natasha's show was I wasn't doing the show. I was her +1. And I was never been happy to be a trophy husband. I was just lounging around the Ritz-Carlton in Dorado. I mean, it was so fancy. Dude, let me just tell you something. This is the fanciest hotel I maybe ever stayed at. You think, if you're listening and you're not rich, you think the rich live better than you. You don't know how much better the rich live than you.
We could not have afforded that
It was
hotel.
insane. They had butlers. They kept calling the person butlers in front of our kid. I'm like, can you not say the B word in front of our kid? I'm not trying to have her think butlers are normal.
Well, no, because they were also calling them ambassadors.
Yeah,
which was less offensive.
Yeah, right. An ambassador of what? Of getting you a sewing kit. Anyway, the butler was like. By the way, I don't know where they get these butlers from, but it was such a distillation of how the upper crust, how the hoi polloi live. The butler comes up to our kid and she's complimenting her and she's saying like, it's like high level compliment. She's like, oh, you're such a confident and brilliant young lady that will someday be a leader in the community. I'm like, what? At a Hilton Garden Inn, you'd be lucky if the person checking your kid in isn't like, you'll have big tits someday. Like, it was straight up. It was
on every level.
On every level, this butler, it was like they got her from a United Nations training facility. It was so dope.
But also I will say this is the first time I saw Hasidic Jews on vacation, and the woman swam in the ocean in a dress and a wig.
In an ankle-length dress and a wig. It was definitely.
And then they're at this fancy restaurant, and the food comes, and it was all just catered in.
It was kosher catered. I mean, listen. Watching a Hasidic woman swim in an ankle-length dress and a wig is not the greatest advertisement for my people. But what can you do? People are different.
They were nice.
You have to have what's called cultural relativism. Oh, that was what was funny, wasn't it?
Is it because he's afraid that when people see her in a bikini, everyone will...
Bazoingas. Yes.
Oh, he doesn't want anyone seeing her tits. Is that the idea?
She also doesn't want anyone seeing her tits. She is living in a state of modesty, and that is the cultural relativism we must employ when thinking about people. I
understand that, and so the modesty it's almost a virtue.
It's definitely a virtue. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you were walking around. I mean, it's so funny that you had judgment about it because, of course,
I didn't have judgment.
You did, though, but you were walking around.
She had a full face of makeup on, and then she was like, had a wig on and jumped in the ocean.
Natasha's walking around the Ritz all weekend long in one of those Bahia Cabana, like Brazilian butt floss things, and one of those, the kind on the front part where it only barely covers the top of the pubic bone. That's what Natasha was wearing the whole time. It was like a straight up out of Fredericks of Hollywood. Like, do you remember how many times the staff asked you to cover up?
Okay, but there were influencer girls. You could tell they were like getting paid to be there, and they were all dressed like that. So is the Jewish couple allowed to look at their butts at the
That's a good question.
Pool?
I would say they probably aren't supposed to, but I bet you they do. But I will say that you got asked by hotel management to cover up like a number of times.
Stop it.
You did.
I did not.
Natasha was being so inappropriate. She was so rum drunk the entire weekend long. Our kid was like, "Is that mommy?" Remember when you came in and you were so out of control with the sunburn?
My God.
You had that crazy sunburn and you were wearing the wig and your bikini bottoms were off. And Natasha said, "Is that mommy?" and started crying. I mean,
you mean the kid said that?
Our kid said, "Is that mommy?" and started crying. Do you remember?
Don't lie.
Well, anyway, we had a great time.
And I wasn't judging those people. I didn't know that you went. I didn't know that you went into the ocean with a wig on.
I didn't.
If you were religious.
If I'm being honest with you, I didn't know that either until this weekend. Although I do have a memory of when I was a kid, my dad brought me to the gender split beach at Coney Island, and it was fucking depressing. It was like corrugated metal walls to lead you into the ocean, so that it would be all men in there, just like in their wool coats, jumping in the sea.
It's not that I don't understand modesty as a virtue. I just feel like as a woman, I've worn wigs before, and swimming in a wig, that can't be her first choice.
No, it's intense. Listen, the wig is indefensible, really. The covering of the hair is difficult from a cultural perspective to understand, but it's the wig that pushes it into the zone of like, this doesn't even make sense. Like the
wig, the color of their hair.
Well, no, the way the Muslims cover their head, it's like just it's a scarf.
That looks cool.
And also non-European Jews, they don't wear the wigs. They just wear what's called a snood. It's just
or
a
like
cloth
even
cover.
A babushka
it's
or something.
Like a hat. But the wig takes it to that next level. And I don't understand it. And I mean, I do understand. I know where it comes from, but it's intent. I mean, I could tell you the whole history of the wig, but
I'm good.
Okay, well, you brought it up actually. So
no, I hear you. I just wanted.
You don't hear me because you told me to stop
okay,
talking.
tell me the story of
I
the
won't.
wig.
Okay, I'll tell you the story of the wig. Basically, okay, so Jews always had this like modesty thing of like cover your hair, right? Because I guess Jews understand and Muslims understand that nothing gets a man hornier
than curls.
Yeah, than a hot head of hair. I mean, it's like we cannot. I mean, you can't look away. You see somebody's hair. But anyway, for the longest time, it was like cover a hat kind of a thing. And then in like the 1700s or something, this famous rabbi's wife was like, what if I just put fake hair on top of my real hair? Then they're not looking at my hair. And everybody was like, that's absurd. And then they were like so influential that all these other people started going like, we're going to do the wig too. But then the rabbis looked at the wigs, right? And the rabbis were like, okay, this doesn't make sense. Okay, you're covering your hair, but you're covering your hair with a wig that looks like hair. So what have you ever noticed that Hasidic wigs don't look that great? Mm-hmm. They don't look like good.
They're like kind of plasticky.
They're kind of plasticky. It's because the rabbis were like, okay, you found a workaround from our cover your hair system, but you can't really have a hair covering that looks as good as real hair. So what they started to do is make these wigs that are purposely kind of whack. They're kind of like busted wigs so that they look a little bit fake.
And tell me, what is behind this? Like, so the woman just looks slightly less attractive.
The whole thing about
that there's no competition.
No, it's the whole thing about Jewish law. Okay, it's modesty. It's the reason you cover your hair is modesty.
Literally don't understand what that means.
No, you cover your hair because of modesty. I'm not defending it or condemning it. I'm just saying that's the ethic, right? But the wig thing is like a workaround. It's like a hustle,
they're
a loophole.
Cheating, but by cheating, it actually looks busted.
They cheated and it looked good. Then the rabbis were like, okay, we can't really outlaw the cheat because technically
so he's like,
it
you
works.
have to have hair that's like a wig that's made out of a 70% polyester plastic.
That's right. And then this other.
Is that really true?
Yes, it's really true. That's for the really religious women, which this woman was. Then the other interesting thing that happened. But still on
vacation at the Ritz.
At the Ritz, doing good. And Natasha goes, why would they be at the Ritz? I was like, why wouldn't they be at the Ritz? She's like, well, why vacation? It's like, what do you think?
Well, I'm just saying, walking around a pool where people have like thongs on.
People.
Maybe is against their religion.
Say where I was wearing a thong.
First of all, I do not wear thongs to the beach. She
does wear thongs to the beach.
But if we were at a topless beach, I would definitely take off my top.
I would love that, honey. Although nothing would make me more aroused. And you know what I would put to cover it up so the other men wouldn't get aroused by it? Teeny little wig cups on each tit. Just a little hair cup. Wouldn't that be cute? Okay, Natasha, listen. It's time for us to take our first call.
Okay.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, now we're going to call DJ in Hamilton, Ontario.
The one and only.
Hi.
How you doing?
Not so bad. I have my daughter here. Sorry. Hoping she doesn't wake up.
Aww.
Is she 14? Long night at the club.
2.5 months old.
Cute.
Aww.
How can we help? What's up?
So I called because I have a dilemma and I've been putting it off for a long time, which I think is part of the problem. I have a friend. I used to live in Vancouver and I live just outside of Toronto now. So she lives in Vancouver. I'm here.
You live in a place called Hamilton?
Yeah.
Dude, honestly, that is so cool. Just the idea to be in a town called Hamilton, after the musical, I just like, it would be so... Can you imagine living in like Les Miserables, Saskatchewan? I mean, nothing could be better.
Okay, so you lived in the Couve, nice and seaport, beautiful, fresh air. Now you're in Toronto.
You didn't want to miss your shot, so you moved to Hamilton.
Hamilton's my hometown, but I did live out in Vancouver for about 2 years.
Yeah.
And we became friends out there. So in December of 2021, she got engaged and I found out I was pregnant, like within the same week. So we were both super excited for each other. I called her to tell her I was pregnant. And on the same phone call, she told me I just got engaged. So we were both super happy for each other, excited, this and the other. And when she asked me to be her maid of honor, I was super excited. Just kind of riding off the high of our like exciting news. And I didn't really think down the line that I was going to have a newborn. And with COVID going on, I didn't think that this wedding was going to be happening for quite a while. But the wedding is coming up this coming September 22.
Ooh, that's soon, honey. Almost too soon to back out.
Way too soon to back out. And
you need a partner. You need someone to sign on to help you because you can't do this right now with a newborn.
No. So my newborn will be a year old by that time, but that lines up exactly with like when I go back to work. So I'll be coming off of maternity leave. There's no way my work is going to be like, yeah, we'll just give you another week vacation after you just got back like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
You can't even go.
I can't, but I don't think she's going to be understanding of that.
I got it.
And you have COVID too, because, you've got an immune compromised, in a way, an unvaccinated,
child,
newborn, 3 months old. I mean,
have you considered the nuclear option?
You can blame it on COVID.
No, I'm saying say you have COVID, and she'll be like, please stay home. Do not come in. Just, unfortunately, you have an archive of the plan right now. We're recording this, so you have to make sure she doesn't hear the podcast. And then right a week before the wedding, I am addled with COVID, and like.
Okay, do you want real advice now?
Put a clothespin on your nose so it sounds a little bit like you're stuffed up, and you just say, yeah, but coved out right now.
Coved out.
Okay.
No, here's what you do. Do you guys have similar friends?
No.
You don't know any of her friends? Do you know any of her family? You basically need to reach out and try to find a replacement.
Wait, how could she find a maid of honor replacement? That's not her job.
That is a good point. I'm not that traditional with weddings. I'm just saying, like, because you definitely know you can't go for 3 different reasons. Your work won't allow it. You're the stress of the newborn. COVID, isn't there like another 2 more reasons? Wait, hold on. So you can't do this. You already know you can't be talked into it, and you feel terrible about it, but that is the reality. Yeah. And you need to write down those reasons so you know them in your head, and you feel awful and you don't know what to do. Now your instinct, you tell her, is to find someone else, but I want to talk to you first, and like, what would make you comfortable? And, I wish that I could be there, but I'm like, my hands are tied now with a newborn and getting back to work. My work has new rules. I just took off this much time. It's so unfair being a woman. Now it's like I took all this maternity leave and now I can't take the leave.
A lot of words when you could just say 3. I have COVID. It could be so simple.
No, but I'm just saying, like, you can come to her understandingly saying, and I wanted to reach out to your sister or whoever, maybe name 3 people, let's say, but like, you tell me first what your comfort zone is and how I can help you try to solve this.
Can I ask a question?
That's good advice.
Thank you.
It is good advice. But I have a question. Is the wedding on a weekend?
So it's September 2022. And
this is in like a year.
The baby will be a year old by then.
Oh, you're giving her plenty of notice.
But
is it enough notice? I feel like I've already done the damage by not giving her enough notice.
No,
a year away.
I'm confused.
We planned our wedding in 2 months.
That's true, but we had some issues as a result of it. But wait, here's my question. It's on a weekend. Why can't you split the difference and go to the wedding but step down as maid of honor?
That's what I wanted to say to her, like, maybe I can fly out on a Friday,
exactly,
stay for the Saturday, Sunday, because the whole festivities leading up to the wedding, she expects me to come to as well, which is like a henna session and I don't know, a girls' night, this and the other.
I think
it's just not possible.
And I think you have to say to her, like, I can't come to the wedding, or I can't do this job, and I'm trying really hard to figure out how to come to the wedding. This is like a project you're working on with your work to try to clear it. But it's like, that if you can get, and they still haven't told you yet, but that like you're really trying to like come to the wedding because it's so important to you because you're such good friends, like just phrase it like that.
It just seems so simple. If you go to the wedding, that's a great offer. And you say, I have to step down as maid of honor. She has 10 months to find a maid of honor.
I know, but people get offended. That's why I'm saying she really has to stress the time commitment can only be like 2 hours. And then you might have to fly back that night. or drive
Right.
back.
I feel like she'll be largely offended if I back out. That's why it makes it so tough, because I love her, but I know that she can have, like she's not going to come from an understanding place. I just feel like it's going to blow up in my face. So it's just like, that's why I've been putting it off. I just get worried that,
well, there's never a good time to do a bad thing. So you should call her after this call and ask her if she's sitting down, or maybe if you want to do it in person.
I wouldn't say, are you sitting down?
I don't know. Like, I'm saying, like, maybe cater to her diva quality. Like, like try to cater to the part that is like going to blow up and say, listen, I know you're going to get mad. Like, try to be cute about it.
By the way, there's nothing better than having a friend in your life that you're a little afraid of. That's for sure. That's what you want.
I'm just saying she can kind of like work her up a little bit and say like, because, this friendship's important to you, right? And you don't want her to like tell all your friends and everybody you guys know that you like backed out and you're a bitch and you're like too into your kid.
Is the friendship important to you?
Well, the thing is, that's the other part of the whole thing is like we live across the country from each other. The friendship isn't as strong as it used to be. Mm-hmm. And I feel like she only made me maid of honor because she like promised me she would make me maid of honor the day she got married. But it was just like a dream back then. I didn't think it would actually happen.
I think you could get out of this altogether if you want. But I think the nicest choice you have is to go and step down as maid of honor. You have an option of not going at all. And I think Natasha's right. If you just say, excuse me, I have COVID. Oh, wow, I have COVID. If you just say, I was so honored.
Good one, Moshe.
I was so honored to be asked, but there's no way I can fulfill this role to the degree that it deserves. And then you're out.
And I think that, plan how you're going to do it. Like maybe you guys should arrange a Skype because she lives in another state, right? Or another part of the country. Yeah, so
we call them states. We call them Canadian states. We won't refer to them as provinces.
But you know what? You owe it to her and you can even say like, I'm so scared to tell you this, but it's like I'm looking at my schedule. I just talked to my work. I'm like so stressed out.
I have COVID.
The baby, and
I have COVID. Just say you have COVID.
Honey,
so
it's
simpler.
in a year. That's a bad.
I have long COVID.
Okay.
Say I have long COVID.
And the only solution I thought to get out of it was to make up an elaborate lie about really bad postpartum depression.
But
tell
Natasha's
her
right.
The 5 reasons. Name them.
Natasha's right. If you call her now and say I have really bad postpartum depression, she'll be like, and what about in 10 months? Will you still have it? You'll be like, who knows?
And the great thing about phone calls as opposed to Skype or something or FaceTime is you can like have notes. You can write down your 5 reasons that you can't do it. And the good news is if she acts like a fucking bitch, you don't even like her that much. So, no, I'm just teasing. I know she's a good friend, whatever. But it's like, but if she becomes really weird from this, good to know.
Yeah.
Like it's not like you're just like, I just don't feel like doing it anymore. I want a vacation. You're like, you have a kid, you have a job. You're not even allowed to with your job, and it's a really stressful, this would be very stressful without COVID as being a layer of stress on you having an unvaccinated newborn. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot going on and it's just like.
You're fired up, Natasha.
Well, because it's like, this is going to ruin her next year if she gets roped into this.
You got to give the call. Natasha said it best. There's no good time to do a bad thing, so do it now.
I knew Natasha would have the best advice.
Hey.
I knew Natasha would have the answer.
No need to say the best advice. That feels diminishing to me as a man. Okay, well, good luck to you, DJ.
And you're charming, so just like try to laugh with her a little bit. And like, I think offering some like trying to brainstorm with who else it could be and you kind of coming out, maybe contacting them. Maybe she has a sister. I don't know. Try to think about it creatively for like 10 minutes or something.
DJ, good luck to you.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
That sucks when you have to make calls like that.
I mean, guess I don't really fully relate to this idea of the whole thing about bridesmaids.
I don't either. Bullshit. I've never done it, but I have, but not in like but some people are real basic.
You didn't have
like
bridesmaids?
That. No, I know, but I think I might have been a bridesmaid at some point, but I didn't do anything. I think some people like they have duties.
Yeah.
Or like.
We didn't have any of that.
You've got to like be on call for a year.
We didn't have any of that.
Right.
Oh, we did it right. It's all about having a Jewish wedding.
I'm not that into weddings in general.
No bridesmaids, No vows. Just like get up there, bada bing, bada bang, bada boom, eat a bagel, we're done.
You know, it's always bad when someone's wedding is planned 1.5 years in advance.
Amen. And they have
Why
a
does it
website, natashaandmoshe.com.
Why does it have to be planned so far in advance? Like I could do a dinner party in 3 days.
I know. It's crazy.
I don't understand this 1.5 years. Is it to secure a venue or something?
Who fucking knows? Go to the beach, go to the forest. Everybody has this idea that they, what did I say? Like that this is the biggest, all of these companies are telling women this is the biggest day of your life and you can ruin it if you don't do things perfectly. It's so dumb. Anyway. Hey, Tosh, do you want to hear a secret or two?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Okay, so I am a sex worker, and if when I leave a client and I'm driving home and I didn't get off in the session, then I will pull my vibrator out and get off on the drive home. And the thought of like another car driving by seeing it like really turns me on. So like today I had an hour drive back home, and just on the freeway, probably going like 70 miles an hour, I came from my vibrator. So anyway, I don't tell anyone that. I haven't told the client that or anything. So anyway, that's my secret. Thanks.
Wait.
I love that she's that sexual.
Well, yeah, I have some questions.
I've masturbated in a car before.
Oh, I have too.
Is
Yeah.
everybody just masturbating? Oh, so people are like on their phones and jerking off while they're driving?
It's dangerous. And doing a stick shift. That's why I have to ban stick shifts. Wait, I have a question for this person. I'm going to be honest. This was an area of ignorance for me. It never really occurred to me that a female sex worker was getting off during sessions. So
Maybe that's what drew her to the industry.
well, right. So now I have some
She's
questions.
very sexual.
Right. I have some questions for you. Can you call us back? Here are my questions. The fact that you're getting off during the sessions ever, is that because you choose clients only that turn you on, or does it not actually matter and it's just the act itself that is so hot that you sometimes get off?
That would be nice to know.
Yeah, that's question one. Question two, how common is it? Maybe you can't speak for other sex workers, but that sex workers are getting...
Do you think male sex workers are getting off?
Yeah, but men seem like they have a simpler, like binary version of not only arousal but of completion.
So you can't believe that a female sex worker would get off, even though all men sex workers do.
Yeah, that's right. It occurs to me that sex females. I'm admitting that it was ignorant. But it just occurs to me that female sex workers are this is what I would have thought before this call, are largely doing it, even if they enjoy the work, are largely doing it as this is, sacred labor, but it's not necessarily how I get off sexually. I do that in my private life.
You think every sex worker says to herself, this is sacred labor?
No, I'm giving space for the people who do it and enjoy it.
Right. Okay.
Right. But obviously there are plenty of sex workers who are like, this sucks. I don't want to be doing this, but a job's a job.
Right.
Right. But there's also a lot of sex workers I know that really love the work, but it never occurred to me that they really love the work because they're like busting nuts. I did not know that.
I would like to know more about it.
I would like to know more as well. Call us back. Okay, how about another secret?
Hi. Okay, so here's my secret. A long time ago, I was helping a friend of mine clean out this dead guy's house. And before I left, my husband asked me if I found any porn or anything kinky to bring it home. Well, so I found a penis pump. And I brought it home, and we ran it through the dishwasher so that it could be sanitary. Well, so it's basically a big, long tube with a pump on the end of it, and it's got a hole drilled in it so that you can release if you have too much suction. You can put your thumb over it and then release it. Well, he thought it would be a good idea to tape up that hole. And so he's pumping away on his dick, and it is, drawing all the blood into his dick, and then his balls get sucked up into the tube, and he starts screaming and flailing and jumping up and down because he's taped the release valve up, and he's calling for my help, and I can't help him because I'm laughing too hard. And so he finally gets it off, and then he's like, okay. And then he does it again. He sucks his balls up in the tube 2 different times. And that's my secret. Okay, bye.
This guy got teeny tiny balls. This seems like a case of teeny tiny balls. How are you going to get your balls sucked into a penis pump?
I don't even know what a penis pump is.
Well, she described it. It's like a tube that you put it into and then you like pump it, literally.
But people don't still do that, do they?
What do you mean still?
Is it like, did people think that it made your dick bigger, but then...
It does.
It does?
Yeah. It pumps it up. It's
Really?
Like you know the Reebok pump? It's like that.
How come no one's ever used one?
What do you mean no one's ever used one?
On me.
What? Why would you need one? You don't need one.
No, I mean, like, I've never seen a guy, if it's that common.
You don't need one. The partner that you're with doesn't need one. That's why.
So it's like just to get it to be a regular size to fuck somebody?
I don't know. Honestly.
How much bigger does it make it?
I don't know. I've never tried one.
Oh, okay.
How come no one's ever used one with me? What the hell? You don't need one? Damn.
Okay, wait, Moshe, we have someone in the waiting room.
Okay,
let's take a call.
let's do another call. We're going to do another call.
We're going to call Kaylin in Ohio.
Kaylin in Ohio. Here comes Kaylin. Let's let her into the room and say, hello, Kaylin.
Hi.
Hi, Kaylin.
How you doing?
Hi. I'm good. How are you guys?
Oh, we are fantastic.
I like your crystal, or is that a rock collection behind you?
Yes, it is a rock collection. My fiance, I didn't know this when I met him, but he has a huge rock collection. And so we have so many, in fact, that I've had to find a way to make them make sense in the house.
I
And
love
this is one of
them. I think it looks really cool. I too love rocks, and I'll grab them anytime I can when I'm outside.
Gotta say, of things to discover about your partner,
Yeah.
a hardy rock collection is pretty low on the troublesome scale. Now, have you ever?
We won't get into it.
You
but
learn to accept.
Yeah, you're right.
You can almost deal with it. Oh my God, this just reminds me. Yeah, the other day Moshe made popcorn and he put sprinkles on it, and I kept hearing something. He was eating it with a spoon, like a large serving spoon, eating the popcorn.
Why?
To make sure it had enough sprinkles on each bite.
Is nothing sacred?
I'm just saying, I'll take a rock collection over that, but I'm just saying you start to just get weaned down.
First of all, you have to clarify what you mean by sprinkles. These were not ice cream sprinkles.
No, like salty, like, yeast. That makes it sound even more charming in
Well,
bed.
all I'm saying is sometimes some things should be kept secret from our listeners, and that was one of them. Let me ask you a question, Kaylin. Have you ever been with a man that used a penis pump?
I haven't.
No, I don't think they're that common.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, moving along. How can we help?
So, my problem has to do with a sort of unchecked behavior from my grandmother towards my fiance.
You're in Ohio. Let me guess. It's Trump related?
No, I don't. Well, this would be fun. Why don't you guess? That's not it. Let's get two more guesses.
Okay. I like that you're taking over hosting duties. I like that. Okay. An unchecked behavior from your grandma to your fiance. We have two more guesses. Natasha, any guesses?
Is your fiance a man?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait, that's what your guess is?
Well, if it was a woman, maybe that would be it.
What?
The grandma.
Oh, homophobic stuff.
is
Okay, but
homophobic.
she didn't. That doesn't count as a guess.
Okay, right.
Okay, I got one. She flirts with him.
It's a pretty good guess. It's a little non-specific, but yeah. I guess that's right.
Oh, okay.
She tells him she wants to have sex with him all the time.
No. She gooses him.
What? Wow.
She's like yanking his. She's like pinching his butt or whatever.
I'm utterly shocked. That is exactly what's going on. But before I get into it, let me.
Well, it feels
Wait,
very,
you guessed it?
Well, it feels very grandma. It feels very grandma vibes.
Yes.
Like an inappropriate sexual advance. It's not really sexual, probably, right? It's kind of like
it's complicated. So before I get into it, let me give you kind of a little bit of a backstory, a little full profile on her. So her name's Grandma Yeehaw. She lives alone in the kind of mountains of Oregon. She's been widowed for about 30 years. She's never taken another husband or lover, to my knowledge.
She's like Granny from the Beverly Hillbillies.
Yeah, she's a real kind of a pioneer woman. She hunts. She's made her own beef jerky. Once when she came to visit, she showed me a kind of slideshow of like a photo montage on her phone of her having the opportunity to castrate a bull. So But then she also has like the classic grandmother qualities, like, great cookies, look forward to them every year. She knits, she quilts, she puzzles. She's on a bowling league.
Grabs your husband's dick, like classic grandma stuff. Yeah.
You know the type. Plus, she's like super sweet. She's Grandma Yeehaw. She's funny, just lovable.
Sure.
Anyway, the sort of shadow side to her is that she is a kind of serial
Repressed
objectifier of men, not unlike a 1960s executive sort of chasing the secretary around the desk.
Wait, she is like the Don Draper in this dynamic?
Worse. Yeah. Shameless. Not private.
Okay, love it.
It's very casual for her. And this is...
What was she like that when she was married to her husband? Or is this like something that's evolved from her?
No, this is a behavior that has been emboldened in her over time, over her supposed celibacy, I would imagine.
Can you give us some examples?
Sure. Well, one detail, and this isn't so much as a red flag, there's nothing wrong with this, I just find it interesting, is she has seen in theaters on opening day, a matinee, likely, not only the first Magic Mike, but Magic Mike XXL. So she's really into that type of thing.
Sure.
Again, she is my grandmother, she's in her late 70s.
So she's a horny old lady.
But she's got those basic tastes too, and I think that your fiance kind of is her type.
Well, probably the most, telling thing that I've observed is one thing is she came to visit. We had a lovely dinner at a Mexican restaurant, but she kind of relentlessly harassed the waiter. Really went after him. And at one point in the evening, she literally physically tried to force him down into her lap, like to sit in her lap. And at the time we were like that.
She's like, what's Spanish for yeehaw?
Yeah. And at the time we were like, thought it was adorable, charming, perhaps, you like to see that, an older woman, she still has this confidence, this sort of fire about her. But so, it has gone unchecked, possibly even encouraged, I fear. And fast forward, I've been in a relationship for 6 years. Some time ago, about 4 years ago, she came to visit, and it was her first time meeting my fiance. And she sort of thought it would be like a hysterical icebreaker, is if when they do the greeting hug, she would, move her hands,
reach down,
grab some ass, right? And she was right.
Yeehaw.
It went over really well. We got a good chuckle out of it. And we're just like, that's Grandma Yeehaw, but the problem is that she never stopped, and she does it any chance she can. And we started to realize that it might be a little more than just for the laugh, because she was doing it even without an audience. And he was just kind of walking by, she would do it. And over the years, it's turned into more, like kind of perverted jokes. There was an incident with I guess you'd say like a nipple tweak situation.
Ooh.
And
not a fan.
So he's been a pretty good sport about it. But this is big actually for part of your assessment, and if nothing else, just like an added layer of comedic effect. Me and my fiance, it's kind of a May-December situation. So you have to imagine that this is a man in his late 40s being cornered holidays by my grandmother. And one year, a few years ago before COVID, was her last visit. And we were leaving a dinner, and...
Wait, was that your husband getting goosed by your grandma right now?
That's a puppy. I got a new dog.
Oh, it sounded like a man yelping. Okay, go ahead.
So he gets in my car, and it had been a kind of a hard time for him. He had recently lost somebody in his life, and it was kind of the holidays can sort of trigger this grief. And he got in I don't know why I'm smiling, but he got in the car, and he just really broke down. And he was just like, dude, the fuck with your grandma, like grabbing my ass all the time. Like, it's been years. It's like, it's not funny anymore. Like, it really makes me uncomfortable. It's getting worse. And I just can't deal with it anymore. Like, someone's got to do something. You have to talk to her.
And you haven't?
Well, I will say
He's in his late 40s?
yeah.
And he said the fuck? That's a red flag right there. That's a little old for the fuck.
No, listen, here's the thing. I have the answer with your grandma. Blame it on the climate. Just be like, Granny, can I talk to you for a second? Listen, I know, if you were a guy doing this, people would be outraged. It would be so problematic. And like, things are just different now, Grandma. It's like people, hold on. Just say people are really offended. They're easily offended. People, it's just like, can you do 80% less? Or Grandma, we're not going to be able to take you out into public. We're not going to be able to go to the Mexican restaurant. You're going to have to eat at home. Like, you just have to tell her.
I know I do. The question isn't like, how do I do it? See, I've been off the hook for about 3 years because COVID happened. She hasn't been back to visit. And I know I have to do it. But it's the question of how. And now it's like, it's really scary because she's confirmed. She's coming for Christmas and she's been cooped up, pent up, and she's coming in hot. And
oh no,
she's coming for your fiance's ding dong. It's on the way.
Yeah. Like I feel like we're past the point of the ass, and she's gonna do like a reach around situation.
I think you're right.
Hold on. Do you talk to her ever on the phone?
Sometimes, but she doesn't care to hear from me. To be honest, it's strange.
She can't FaceTime or anything.
I guess she could. Do you think I should do it like that?
Well, in case you don't get the time to talk to her in person before you see her.
She doesn't give me the chance. She just goes right for it.
And you're going to be pissed. Yeah.
Well,
so I think that you need to try to talk to her first. And you know what? You could even check in once now. Check in. Say you're excited for Christmas. And you could check in again at Thanksgiving and maybe then say, hey, can we talk for like a few minutes? I just want to be clear because like, I think she can talk loosely about like people are really sensitive these days, and
I don't think blaming it on the
no, but maybe she just says her husband is really but I don't want to make it too much about him because it puts him on the spot.
I don't think
I don't want to embarrass either of them.
I
certainly don't want to embarrass
think
her.
Blaming the culture is going to help a woman named Yeehaw understand that she should change. She's going to say, well, that's bullshit. Ha ha ha. Do you have to be like, hey, grandma works? First of all, my primary advice would be that she seems like she could hurt you with this castration knife. Maybe you just take the L. Maybe you just tell your husband he's got to man up and take it. But
no, she's out of line.
Is she off at all? Like, is any of this about her being a little bit like Dottie?
Okay, well, you know how they say old age is like a second childhood.
Sure. I used to love grabbing ass when I was a little 8-year-old.
well, like when you're a kid, look, and her, she's getting older, so she is kind of losing it a bit. Like we've had noticed. I mean, not full on, but little things. But you know how like when you're a kid and something's like really funny, or the first time you do something really funny, you kind of really just do it all the time, and you don't really have a sense of like, all right, I think that one's pretty much played out.
Well,
you know what I mean?
It's so interesting you say that because what I do to my child when she does something I don't want her to do, talk about her pride. You don't respond. You don't. And I never have a smile. And I'm like, and if you talk to your grandma beforehand around Thanksgiving and she still does it, don't laugh. And you can even say when you're alone with her afterwards, like, I thought I talked to you about that. It really makes us uncomfortable. You just have to kind of not encourage.
But you're missing a step, which is the conversation. That's the conversation you need to have. You need to call grandma. Don't blame the Me Too movement. I don't think she's going to respond to that. But I think you got to throw your husband under the bus, dude. I'm sorry. I think the best route here, if you say I'm uncomfortable, she'll dismiss you. I can feel it. She'll go, oh my God,
yeah, and then
Kaylin,
she'll like roast him afterwards.
If you say to her, grandma, how would she respond to you saying, grandma, the truth is he's really uncomfortable with this stuff?
No, she's going to say something. She doesn't have boundaries.
Well, then what would you suggest?
My thing, just say in general, like she can say the waiter thing made me, I've been thinking about it, and like the waiter thing, it could be one of 3 things. It could be grabbing my husband's butt. Why can't it bother her?
Then
maybe she's jealous.
Okay, I'm with you. I've changed my tune. I'm with you.
And then
it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me because
you think it's funny.
Well, and
I think it's funny
because I hate to expose my own hypocrisy, as far as like where I draw the line with sexual harassment. But for me, when he brought it up to me, I'm ashamed to say that my first reaction was like, "Oh, can't you just
I mean,
live with it. You know what I mean? Like, she's an old lady.
this is
Let her get her
simple.
kicks. Her husband's dead, you know?
This is simple,
And-
Kaylin. If it was a man and he was doing it to you, if it was his dad, there would be no question about it.
Totally.
So what would happen in that situation is he would call his dad and he would say, I'm super uncomfortable with this. His grandfather, and say, I'm super uncomfortable. That's what you got to do. You got to take one for the team.
no-brainer.
You got to take one for the team. Call your grandma and say, we're excited to have you here. You can't grab my husband's ass or flirt with him anymore.
Or the waiter, Granny, or we're not going out to eat anymore.
Keep
Who knows
it simple.
who else, you know?
You can't
I'm
change
saying
it.
don't put it all on the husband.
No, I'm saying I disagree with Natasha. You call Yeehaw and say, I don't want you flirting with my husband or grabbing his butt anymore. It makes me uncomfortable. Even if that's not true for you, you lie for your husband and you take it on the chin. And if worse comes to worse, you find Grandma Yeehaw like a waiter from a local Mexican taqueria to fuck.
Well, do you think there's like a more lighthearted way to do it? Because my concern is that the idea of like, I don't know, I know this is messed up and I'm part of the problem, but like, I just don't want to embarrass her.
And also, but here's the thing about Granny Yeehaw is she's kind of riding the dead husband vibes and like, I can do whatever I want. I can, you know, she needs to like, that's why I'd be like, what if you talk to her about like, this is what I would do. Grandma, could you just like dial it back like 80%? Or I don't know, 50% feels like it might not be enough for her. So like if you were like 50, 80%, you know, like we love your personality. But like, for example, like when you were doing that with the waiter and, you know, also like grabbing my husband's butt, like, you know, he's got these issues. He's vulnerable. Like he's just not, his family wasn't like that. Like it's just a bit much. And you know what, now that I think about it, it's a bit much for me too. And like, I love you. I'm so excited to see you after COVID.
Speaking of Me Too, we're in the middle of a cultural shift with Me Too.
No, you don't have to say that. You don't have to say that. Come on, I'm doing good. And then you
are doing good. This is good. I like this.
And you just say, you know, and I love hanging out with you, and you're so funny. But you know, and you can also say like people's families, like it's just, you know, it's a lot. His family's not like that. And I also, please don't mention it to him. I don't want him to feel bad. And we love hanging out with you. But just, I know, I'm just saying.
Wait,
like,
so what if she says to Kaylin, Grandma goes, "Oh, honey, yeah, Kaylin, come, you young people, so sensitive. I'm not paying attention to any of that." Then what do you do?
Then she goes into Moshe mode and she says, well, I'm letting you know it makes me really uncomfortable, but I am really excited to see you.
I like this.
Let's go out to do you want to go out to dinner with me and my husband? But listen, we're going to practice. No putting the waiter on your lap, okay? And then try to misdirect her. That's what you do with kids. Hold on, second childhood. This is what you do with kids. You're like, oh, honey, look at this thing over here. Let's start, anytime she talks about her vagina or his butt or whatever she's doing, misdirect her. Oh, Granny, what's in your cookie recipe? Are you going to make them for us? And maybe that's what you ask her too when you call her. You're also calling about them cookies.
So I think
Right.
And your husband's favorite cookies.
Natasha's doing a tiered approach, which I like. You start off in a more general, like, oh, yeehaw, maybe we could just a little less. She says no, then you up it to, well, actually, the truth is I'm actually uncomfortable with this behavior and need you to stop. So you get your lighthearted cake, and if she doesn't take a bite, then you get your slam down. No more yeehaws for Grandma Yeehaw.
And misdirect her. Think about two other things you guys can talk about besides this. And then if you see her doing it at Christmas, don't laugh, act no expression, and then next time you're alone with her, let her know. Say, hey, listen, I talked to you about that, and you know, I'm serious, and I love you, right?
Yeah, and let's go castrate a bull together to celebrate.
Yeah.
It's hard.
No, you're right.
But you owe that to your husband, because like, I wouldn't want to have my ass grabbed.
Would you?
Yeah, it's a bit much.
By like a 70-year-old. Like, remember when George Bush, what was he saying?
Oh, David Copperfield. That's right. His favorite magician was...
Say, Granny, you don't want to be Granny Copperfield.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, she really responds to humor. So
what
she's
about
a very
puns?
funny lady.
What about puns? Would you like a George Bush Senior pun?
Oh, and tell her you think she's so funny she doesn't need to rely on like sex humor.
Oh, what? Now she's a comedy critic?
You know, like you love it. Like she's funny. She's have her tell one of her great stories to your husband that has nothing to do about sex. and not, like just to try to discourage. Like our kid was hanging out with a kid who talked about his penis all the time. So every time she would start talking about her penis or talking about his penis or talking about her vagina at the dinner table, we would just be like, shut it down. If you're going to talk like that, go to your room. It's not funny. Let's misdirect her. What's in this? Does anyone have something they're grateful for? You just have to do that.
I think that's right, and I think the headline here is that your husband has expressed actual discomfort.
Yeah,
you think it's a joke and that it's funny, and to be honest, it is funny, but to him, it's not. He's now expressed to you this has gone past the funny part into the I'm
even if he's
uncomfortable.
just being a little bitch. I'm sure he's not alone. There's other people who are annoyed at this.
So he's given you the information you need. You have to say something. You're the only one who can. You're little Yahoo Junior and Yeehaw Junior, and you need to use parlance she would understand. You need to get a lasso around Grandma Yeehaw.
This woman does sound very fun and
I want to hang out with her.
So let me ask you this, Moshe.
She's great.
If this was my Nana Yeehaw, and she did that to you twice a year, could you deal with it? Like full butt grab and then her talking about how cute you are?
But it's getting more and more direct and aggressive.
Yeah, it's just getting a bit like...
Yeah.
I would
no. Eventually, I would say something.
Moshe would say something. Too,
I would say something directly to her. Hey, please don't grab my body. That's what I'd probably say.
Really?
Yeah, I would probably say that. Yeah, please don't grab me. I don't like it.
And also let your husband know that you talked to her because that's what he wanted.
Or you know what? One last option we haven't really discussed. What if he just for your grandma? What if you just let him smash one time? Just one time.
Just to get it out of
Yeah, exactly. It's been 30 years. And he would probably, something fun. He likes rocks and stuff. He likes old stuff. Like, why not?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a discovery. I think that's the solution.
I can discuss it with him,
Run it up the flagpole. See what he says.
I am not looking forward to this conversation. I might be more open to that, honestly. That's how much I want to avoid the conversation, but I know I have to have it.
I think Natasha's right. You start off general and funny.
Cookies. It's all about the cookies.
And the more she resists you, the more you make it specific and pointed. Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be a big deal. You're just saying it, and then if she still doesn't, you don't want to have a big fight with your husband over this. You choose him over her, and
sure.
He'll be around
she
longer.
Shouldn't, and it seems like she goes too far, not just with him.
The Mexican waiter, that's his problem. I don't think you really.
She's being performative. The grandma.
Right. It's a joke. Mostly, it's a joke.
And
but
she tipped really well, though.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And it's
really well.
It's just so funny too that the first time she met her husband, she grabbed his ass.
All you got to do is switch the genders, and this is horrifyingly inappropriate behavior.
Absolutely,
it's not charming and it's not cute and it's not some Oregon shit. It's like,
I know. Isn't
get away.
That funny though? That obviously I would agree with that. If it were me, I would be like, that's unacceptable. This needs to be addressed immediately. But when it's your own sweet little widowed grandmother, you're just like,
she's milking it.
She wants to milk it. She wants to milk that fiance prostate.
She needs a boyfriend.
She does need a boyfriend.
She seems like a lot of fun.
Or at least
maybe she's all talk.
Right. Or
she's been very proud of the fact that she has remained faithful to her even deceased husband. Very proud of it. Like, I shall never love another type of thing.
But I'll goose them all.
I'll goose them all.
Yeah, I'll touch them all.
Love no man, goose them all. All right. Well, good luck to you on this conversation.
And lucky you. And also, don't forget to tell her how lucky you are. Here's the real thing. Like, no, I've never heard of a grandma like this. She sounds fucking awesome and special in a way. Like,
she's wonderful.
I love people like this. Like, they're from a different generation. And, like, I think it's so cool. And you can also, like, you can juxtapose your cool, warm family against, like, some people are more uptight.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's true. And you're so great that you're born of her stock. And I think it's like, maybe it'll be a nice thing to tell her before she dies.
You could tell
how
her.
much you honor her and are appreciative that you have someone so unique in your family, because you don't know anybody who has someone like that.
You could tell her that you've been keeping a secret and that your fiance is Jewish and that in Jewish culture, they're very uptight. And she'll probably believe it. If she's been in the Oregon woods long enough, she'll be like, I thought so. And then you go, yeah, so you can't do that to Jews. Any non-Jew you can touch without permission. But something like that could be fun.
I also thought about anecdotally, maybe say that like, yeah, Toby's so and so like sometimes hugs me too long. You know what I mean? To make the gears turn in her head, like.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
You
Like,
start telling a story about someone else that hugs you too long, and she's gonna.
that sounds a lot like her behavior.
Yeah.
And maybe
Subtlety and
She's
a woman
like,
named.
introduce me to him.
I know. Subtlety and a woman named Yeehaw are not cousins. I would not say
Yeah,
the
you're
subtle
probably
approach
right.
is the way. Good luck to you.
Thanks so much.
Okay, farewell.
Bye-bye.
I wish I had a grandma like that. But
I want
also,
Grandma Yeehaw.
that made
I
me
wish I had a
realize-
grandfather that sexually harassed you.
that made me realize how easy it'll be to be funny when you're old.
I know. All
You're
you
just
gotta
like,
do
I'm
is-
horny.
Yeah,
And everyone's like, you're like, get the fuck over here.
What's funny about that is I'm already working on that material.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, because I am horny now, but it's not charming. But as I get older, it'll become more and more charming. I tell people I'm horny all the time.
No, then you're like Benny Hill. You're like chasing women through like around a park bench.
If you have a secret you'd like to tell us, why don't you call us? 213-222-8608.
Or if you'd like to be a guest on our podcast, send us an email and we'll see if you live up to our standards for all of our wonderful guests at endlesshoneymoonpod@gmail.com.
We're on Instagram. We're on YouTube. You can find us where you get your podcast, apple.co/endlesshoneymoon.
And listen to us on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe and leave a comment.
Hey, what a good comment. And by the way, I would, speaking of good comments, you know what I would put under our YouTube video? I love you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I love you too.
I love you too. I mean, I love you as well as you loving me too. I love me too. I love the Me Too movement. Grandma Yahoo, I'm coming for you.